Good evening, Lancers. This is Robin Thompson, and this is week 3 for legal and ethical issues with Dr. Sundstrom, and this is going to be the Code of Ethics. I currently work for the public sector. I work for the Superior Court of California. I actually work in the civil department, so lots of lawsuits. So when I think of ethics, I immediately think of my position, so kind of interesting this week. But as far as the public sector goes, the Superior Court of California, we think of law, and we think of equality for all and justice, and we had assignments this week that also centered around that. So we want equal access to everybody, and we want it to be fair, and we want it to be just. And we learned this week, really that's a problem of how people view justice and what really is justice and what's equality and what is fair. And we all have different viewpoints about that. So the Superior Court of California, we do have a code of ethics, and we actually focus on 12 tenets. Every team meeting we have, there's always a tenet that's gone over. The court takes these very seriously. So I did put a list here of what the 12 tenets are, but court employees, the public needs to have confidence in us, and they need to have confidence in the courts. And these 12 tenets will convey and help work towards gaining the public's confidence in what we do. And as court employees, and not just court employees, but for me, a public sector employee, you are held to a higher standard of ethical behavior. And to advance these values, we believe that there is a certain ethical principles that we all should govern on a day-to-day basis. And that was actually quoted from our actual code of ethics. So, these 12 tenets, they carry over pretty much into everything that you do, but you could also carry these over into your personal life as well. But these are guidelines, they're written and they're explained, and they're very clear, and they actually are enforceable as well. So as with any organization or business, especially in the public sector, we have a social responsibility to operate and conduct our business ethically. So the public sector must work towards this, and we must want the public to trust us and know that they'll be given fair and equal access, for my instance, to the justice system, that they can walk in knowing that they're going to get equal and fair treatment, regardless if they have money, if they don't have money, if they have a lawyer, if they don't have money, or if they don't have one, or if they really did commit a crime or they didn't. So these are rules. So these tenets kind of explore the various ways that we all must conduct ourselves when interacting with the public. The public perception is very, very key, and some of these tenets will talk about that. And while you may not think that you're doing something that appears a certain way, it doesn't matter. It's what the public's perception of what it is that you're doing. So regardless of your title, your status, your pay level, everyone is expected to follow these. And they're not written with, what I kind of like is they're not written with a bunch of legal jargon that some people may not understand. But like with any law, rule, policy, it's hard to predict to put everything onto paper, but it's kind of a guideline, and for the most part, these tenets provide very clear and concise descriptions of the behaviors that we must be displaying when we're dealing with the public, whether it's internal matters or if it's decisions that we're making that are going to affect them and they're not specifically there. So these tenets were actually written by the Judicial Council of California, so all courts will have these same tenets. Again, they're very clear, they're relatable, and there really isn't room for interpretation. So if someone is going to break this, they really can't come in and say, well, I didn't understand that. Every one of these tenets has a purpose and a meaning, and they're very comprehensible, they're clear, they're enforceable, and in reality, they're fair and they're equitable, and they do withhold treatment to all. So everybody signs something when you're there. So these code of ethics, start at the top. Us employees, we're influential and we look to our leaders' behaviors and actions, but at the end, we're all responsible for ourselves, and we all have to practice what we preach. So I'm going to be comparing the code of ethics and values to Christianity in general. I grew up in private school up until about high school, so I was in the church quite a bit, and then for very many years I kind of stopped going, not because my beliefs changed by any means, but it was more so just, um, I guess I was just changing my routine. Um, so can't really say that was a great idea or not, but I've never not had faith or believed in Christianity. But the ethics and values that Christianity follows, um, there is a lot of faith-based and trusting in the Lord. So for me, Christianity, the code of ethics, number one is the Bible, and these 10 commandments come from the Bible. I've listed them all out here. I'm sure that you guys have heard them or read them multiple times throughout your life. Um, and in the end, I feel that these 10 commandments um, don't actually tell you how to live that way, but it's very clear. It's not going to tell you how to honor your father and mother, but it's a guideline of what you should do, what your goal, or what you're seeking to do. Um, so the Ten Commandments in the Bible, the Bible itself has lots of lessons that are examples of these Ten Commandments, because there are these Ten Commandments being broken all throughout the Bible. Um, so the Bible does essentially give you good examples and bad examples of what you should and should not do. Um, and the message in it at the end of it really is that our God is loving and He is going to offer you forgiveness no matter what. But the code of ethics for Christianity is Ten Commandments and the entire Bible. So I kind of incorporate these both into natural law, and Thomas Aquinas this last week, he was the one I think who had the most like faith-based and religion behind his way of thinking. Um, so I feel that that fits naturally with this philosophy. Um, that law isn't the only reason that we do things, but that, we are humans. We have to decide, what our behaviors and what our actions are going to be. We have the ability to decide between wrong and right, or good and evil, and we have to really exercise our right to reason and look and discover and make decisions that are not just selfish for ourselves, but they also are something that would benefit others. Not so much along the utilitarian guidelines where it's, you know, for the greater good, um, but I feel like the natural law theory kind of incorporates the public sector, because in the end you are making decisions for the greater good and you're not just making decisions for just yourself. You have a choice. Um, as humans, we want to be fulfilled. We want to be rational. We have this natural sense of intellect, and God essentially gave us these rules and a foundation or a path of exactly how He wanted us to live. So I hope you guys enjoyed my presentation this week, and I can't believe we're already almost halfway through the semester, and I look forward to listening to your presentations as well. God bless.